Monday Night Football sucked, and that might be reflected in my power rankings. But if you're unfamiliar with how I do power rankings on the channel, shoot, let me tell you, I separate my rankings into 5 tiers. Of course, at the bottom of the league, simple enough. And then a tier up, I have this could be, but unlikely. Teams that are extremely unlikely to make the playoffs because I just think they're bad, but they could play spoiler. And then I have this nice playoff contender tier in the middle, teams that may vie for a playoff spot. And above that, I have teams that I am 100% confident will be in the playoffs. They are playoff caliber teams. And of course, we got your Super Bowl contenders. And I'm not going to lie, that tier is going to be a little meaty this week. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know so, go ahead, become bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below where we have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Let's go ahead, get this sucker started at the bottom, starting with, yes, it's going to be the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers don't have Kyler Murray starting next week. Bryce Young, probably one of his worst games of the year. He threw 2 touchdown passes. Just unfortunately, they were to Kenny Moore for the Colts. The Panthers are just a bad team right now, especially offensively. And it's just so wild that the offensive line is playing so poorly, in particularly the interior, that Ken McWanu seems to regress from a year ago in terms of what he is as a pass protector. Even Taylor Moton, who's honestly a very solid tackle, is even having bad games. It's contagious. So, of course, they're going to be your bottom team here. But Arizona Cardinals will be that 31 team for me. They started Clayton Tune. How they expect... we all knew they were going to lose this game. We weren't shocked when we were like, oh, they didn't score any points against the Browns defense. Clayton Tune didn't score any points against the Browns defense. No, we weren't shocked. We weren't surprised. If anything, it was expected. But Kyler Murray does return next week. At least that's the report is he will start next week. We'll see what happens there. But until then, they're going to stay in this bottom tier for me. I mean, they're a 1-win team. They're going to be in this bottom tier probably for the remainder of the year. But now let's talk about some of these teams that maybe came into the year with a little hope. And I'm going to start with the New York Football Giants. Just first off, terrible situation. Daniel Jones struggled, or at least suffered the neck injury a few weeks ago. He was able to return this game. ACL injury, out for the season. Just sucks. The offensive line's been a revolving door because of injury, but the play hasn't been that good either. The Giants are just a bad team. And that's just kind of facts right now. Losing to the Raiders. They had, what was his name? Tommy DeVito. He was out there slinging the ball to the defense sometimes. Yeah, it's going to be a rough remainder of the year for the New York Giants. Right ahead of them, I'm going to put the Chicago Bears. Maybe we get a return in Justin Fields this week. They were competitive with the Saints. Like Tyson Bagent, like honestly, like if you take away the interceptions, not half bad. I kind of like some of the risks and the throws he took, but then there were ones that were just terribly awful or wildly inaccurate that led to he had 3 interceptions, I think. So that was kind of rough. Montez Sweat in his debut was fine, nothing special, but I imagine as he gets more implemented into the defense that his numbers and production will go up. But right now, as of this moment, they're a bottom team. They're a bad team. Even with the return in Justin Fields, I don't see much changing for the Bears for the remainder of the season. Just edging the Bears out here, just because I think they're a better team. It's the New England Patriots. They had a chance. They really did to beat the stinking Commanders. Commanders got up to a 10-0 lead early. They turned a Brian Robinson fumble into points. Before you know it, they were up 17-10. And then Sam Howell started slinging. That shouldn't be surprising. This New England defense is missing a lot of their star players because of injury. The Commanders go up 20-17. Mac Jones, are you going to lead a game-winning drive? No, I'm going to throw an interception. But it's not fair to say Mac Jones, like, it's not like he played great. I thought he was all right this game. But he was let down by just his pass catchers. Again, like, he had Juju, he had a drop. He had a drop from, Jalen Reagor. That's right. I was like, it's on the tip of my tongue. But Jalen Reagor, he dropped the deep ball, went right through his hands. Like, it's just kind of rough sledding for the Patriots, and they're just going to happen to be a bad team. It's just sometimes the way things are. But I got one more team in this bottom of the league tier. It might be surprising because they won this week, but it's still the Green Bay Packers. I think they're a young team that's slowly maturing. I don't think they're not going to turn the corner at any point this season. I don't think so. But it was nice to see at least what their offense may be capable of, even though they were facing a very hapless defense. It's basically Aaron Donald and friends. And they were facing Brett Rippon. We'll talk about the Rams in a second, but I just got to say, Matthew Stafford makes that offense look so much better. Seventh round rookie, Anthony Johnson got, I think this was his first game with significant snaps, and got an interception off a deflection. Good for him, man. Good for him. There was a funky little play, which my heart went out to Dontavian Wicks. Fighting to get the first down. He's turning with the ball, and as he makes contact with the ground, the ball comes out right into a Rams defender's hands for a forced fumble or for a fumble recovery, for a turnover. And I was like, man, I love that effort. It's just unfortunate. Sucks to suck. But that was one of the noteworthy things, just because it was strange. Let's go ahead and move to this could be but unlikely tier. We're going to start off with the Las Vegas Raiders. Great win against the Giants. This is their first game after firing Josh McDaniels and Mick Lombardi. Antonio Pierce has this team playing with a different energy. It feels like a weight's been lifted off their shoulders. Aiden O'Connell was slinging. He had a sick catch by Trey Tucker. Josh Jacobs had one of his best games of the season. Even the defense. You had other, straight up, right now, you got Max Crosby, but Adam Butler's been, his best friend last couple of games. Those guys have been creating a lot of chaos together. I'm not saying they're a good team, but it's nice to see that the black hole of Josh McDaniels is no longer present, and just how much better this team looks. And they just look like they were having fun out there. Right ahead of them, I do have the Brett Ripien led Rams. You might be like, what? They're a bottom league team? No, they're a very competitive team when Matthew Stafford is on the field and playing. He was day to day with a thumb injury, ends up not playing, and you just saw how inept this offense was without him. Already it's you're on the struggle bus with a terrible offensive line. But they will be getting healthier in the next couple of weeks with Matthew Stafford, Kyren Williams, Robert Havenstein. So there's that to look forward to. They're by no means a good team, but I think they're a team that could definitely surprise and maybe have a couple of wins you wouldn't expect them to this year. Right ahead of them is the Denver Broncos. They're going to be coming off a bye, and they are rewarded by having to go take on the Buffalo Bills, the pissed off Buffalo Bills in Buffalo next Monday night. So Godspeed, Russ. Hopefully Mr. Unlimited is cooking that night. Or maybe not. I don't know which is good and which is bad nowadays with Russ. Indianapolis Colts are going to be a spot right ahead of them. They weren't really challenged in this game, at least offensively, against the Carolina Panthers. Kenny Moore did much of the heavy lifting, as did the defense for the Colts. So offensively, they didn't really have to do much. And to be honest, they didn't. They didn't do much. So, like, I don't feel like I learned anything from this game about the Colts. Maybe Kenny Moore still got it. But, yeah, I still feel like I just don't think they're legit contenders. I just don't. Right ahead of them is a team that actually just lost last night. It's the New York Jets. I get it. They're 4-4. What do you mean you don't think they're going to compete? They're not a good team. I think they're going to get lost as other AFC teams who are simply just better than them continue to have better records, and you're going to see the Jets slowly slide. They might be able to get to 7 wins. That's not going to be enough in the AFC. That's just my opinion. I have a hard time believing this offense can do anything. Like, what, Zach Wilson didn't get this team inside the red zone until the final drive of the game, which they ended up not scoring on. Come on. Defense had a great game. It's unfortunate that it didn't matter. Special teams kind of allowed the first points on the Darius Davis touchdown. So not a great night for the Jets. Just not. And I don't have faith in that squad. And then I have one more team in this tier, and it's the Tennessee Titans. Like, I hope Will Levis balls. I just don't see this team really competing for a spot just yet. I feel like, I don't know. I think you just can't expect Will Levis as a rookie to kind of come in and kind of save this team. There's a lot of other issues going on as outside of D-Hop, where your playmakers, your offensive line is just kind of a mess right now. Defensively, pressure, they're not really hitting home, and it's like, like, this team's gonna play hard for Mike Vrabel, but I just don't think it'll be enough. Let's go ahead and move this playoff contender tier so I can, talk more cheery about teams. And that's a lie. I just lied to y'all's face. I'm going to be talking about the Atlanta Falcons. And I don't think I got really any positive things to say. They lost to Josh Dobbs, which, that doesn't sound so bad, but Josh Dobbs, who just arrived there in Minnesota, hadn't practiced with the team, ended up getting forced into the lineup because Jaron Hall goes down, and basically Kevin O'Connell and his teammates are having to map out and translate what the plays are in the huddle. The heck? How Sway? Listen, and you spend a top 10 pick on a running back. For one, I'm not a fan of taking running backs out early. And two, if you're going to take a running back that early, you better give him 20 plus touches. Utilize that guy. And it's not like the fumble put him in the doghouse. That was late in the third quarter. He was already not getting used a ton before that. They were down Drake London this game. Tyler Heineke, did Tyler Heineke things. The dude's a gunslinger. There's going to be times where he throws it to the defense, and there were times in this game where he did exactly just that. But I just don't know what to expect with this offense. I just don't. So they are going to be at the lower tier of my playoff contender. Right ahead of them is a team that beat them. It's the Washington Commanders. Sam Howell, man. I love the Sam Howell ride. He was one of my favorite prospects in the 2022 draft. The guy can throw a nice football. Just look at that Jahan Dotson touchdown. But there are times where he'll get himself into sacks, or the offensive line maybe it's not blocking well. To be fair, there wasn't a ton of instances in this game, though I think Christian Barmore kind of had a field day with the interior. But I thought Sam Howell, he played a good game, and I think he's going to have this team competing. The secondary was actually really good. Emmanuel Forbes probably had his best game of the season, but unfortunately, since they traded away their their top edge players, yeah, they had no pass rush. No pass rush for the Commanders. I think they're just because the NFC is gonna like that wild card spots are gonna be tight. I think they're gonna be in the discussion there. Right ahead of them is actually the Minnesota Vikings. I don't think they have a great chance, but they're sitting here at 5-4. Kevin O'Connell, Brian Flores has these guys playing well. They're overachieving a little bit, and Dobbs is kind of the right guy. Like with Cousins down, I thought he was probably the perfect guy to come in and be like, hey, just go out there and be a gamer, man. Keep us competitive. And maybe play will go our way, you know, we'll be able to pick up points and whatnot. But stinking, I'll just say this. The Vikings go from one quarterback I just want to cheer for to another I just want to cheer for. Vikings are they are they America's team? Answer in the comment section below. But I want to give a quick shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Thank you so much for being the sponsor of today's video. If you use promo code Broshmo, when you sign up at Underdog Fantasy, they will match your first deposit up to $500 dues. That means if you deposit 100, then they're going to give you 200 to play with. They're the best place to play weekly best ball, or my favorite, higher, lower, essentially player prop bets. But as always, please bet responsibly, bet within your means, and when you do go to Underdog and you sign up, use promo code Broshmo. Let's get into it. I still got other playoff contenders. It's the Chargers. The Chargers, on paper, are a much better team than they currently are. But they're not playing like it. Like, this passing game, I get it. Oh, Mike Williams is hurt. He's gone for the year. Okay. Well, Joshua Palmer, he gone for the next 4 weeks. Okay. Oh, Justin Herbert, he got a hurt middle finger on his non-thrown arm. Okay, but do something. It's literally that meme of the stick figure with a stick. Just, come on, do something. Kellen Moore, do something. I expected this from Brandon Staley and his defense, but not you, Kellen Moore. Maybe Mike McCarthy was right about you. I don't fully believe that because I'm a big Kellen Moore guy. I'm a fan of Kellen Moore, but yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like this offense just isn't giving me, or isn't showing me what I want to see. And I don't know, man. I just don't know. I got them as playoff contenders, but it just ain't it from what we've seen thus far. Next, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yo, the Buccaneers are balling. They technically, I think, should have beat the Bills. There was like 2 pass interference calls on that Hail Mary that should have been called, that went uncalled. Like, Baker Mayfield playing good football. Like, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, good football. They're great receivers. The offensive line was really good in this game. And defensively, like, they're a relatively solid defense when they're healthy. Jamil Dean, unfortunately, went down with a concussion in this game against Houston. By the way, I haven't even mentioned this. Game of the year? This Bucs-Texan game was freaking bonkers. I'm going to talk a lot more about it when I talk about the Texans. But, like, Baker Mayfield, he led the game-winning drive. Put the Texans in a spot where they had to get a touchdown. Only 46 seconds left on the clock, I believe. And they did it. So I guess let's just go ahead and talk about my next team up here. It's the Houston Texans. What a hell of a game from CJ Stroud. Set the most passing yards in a game for a rookie. Good on him. Tank Dell had a heck of a game. He had a heck of a final 2 plays. And that doesn't even begin to like discuss what really transpired in this game, because like the kicker for the Texans gets hurt, injures his quad. Was it Fairbairn? And they have running back. I don't want to butcher his name. I'm gonna call him Dare. They have a running back, essentially a special teamer, come in and handle kickoff duties and field goal duties. But the thing is like, we don't want this guy kicking field goals. So this kind of forces him to go for it on a few fourth downs when in field goal range. However, he did end up at the time hitting a go-ahead field goal, 29 yards. That was a moment that put a smile on everybody's face. I remember I was watching Red Zone and I was like, I gotta go watch this game. Like I can't be bothered by other games right now. I want to go watch this game. But I stayed on Red Zone because Minnesota and Falcons were having a real good game too. But then, yeah, let's talk about that last drive. Stroud, 46 seconds. I think he had one timeout to work with. Driving the team down the field. And then the long play to Tank Dell to get him in position for one final play. And he hits Tank Dell with like 4 seconds left in the game. Absolutely wild. Wild. I like watching the Texans. I said it. All right, let's go ahead and discuss. Who do I have next? I got them Saints. Who dat? Got them New Orleans Saints. Okay, I get it. They're facing the Bears, but admittedly, since the Jaguars game, the offense has looked a lot cleaner. A little bit. Okay, maybe not the Jaguars game. But who did they play last week? Was it the Colts? I believe it was the Colts. It was the Colts. So they've looked good the last couple of weeks. Colts, much better defense. Gus Bradley led. Sure, kind of mid, but still much better than defense they faced today in Chicago. So it's like, I don't know, maybe they're starting to get mid to late season form and they go on a run. But they are the team that I have the most confidence in the NFC South right now. So I'm going to have them here in this playoff contender tier. And my final team in this playoff contender tier is the Steelers. Like the Steelers, like for one, Mike Tomlin's just going to drag this team to 500. But the offense played a good game Thursday night. Feels like it was a lifetime ago, but they played a good game Thursday night. Like the running game was going, which why didn't they start Broderick Jones sooner? But they were starting him at right tackle in this game. Najee had a good game. Still being outplayed by Jaylen Warren, though. Just throwing that out there. Really, everyone on the offense outside of George Pickens, who finished the game with a reception for -1 yard, had a pretty solid game. Kenny Pickett was fine. And defensively, man, this pass rush is just nasty. It's scary. So, yeah, they're going to be in a lot of games. Who do they got next week? Because they don't go on the bye, do they? No, it's Eagles, Dolphins, Rams, and Chiefs on the bye. So they got the Packers. And I'm going to be front. That should be a win. And it should be an easy one. Relatively easy. Then again, for the Pittsburgh, nothing comes easy. They are consistently outgained in terms of yardage compared to their opponents. I think they've been that their opponents, I can't remember where I read this at. I think it was their opponents have had more passing and rushing yards in 6 or 7 out of their 8 games this season. Kind of wild. All right, let's talk about these teams that I absolutely think are playoff teams. Seattle Seahawks. They got blown out. They got blown out by the Ravens. Ravens did this to the Detroit Lions, though. But let's call it how it is. The offensive line didn't play well. Geno Smith didn't play well. Real turnover prone. Threw a pick to Geno, or another Geno Stone, who had his 6th interception of the year. Good on him. So, like, I don't know. The Seahawks, I feel like they're better than the teams below them. But I don't know if they're going to be a team that can make it out of the first round of the playoffs. But I'm fairly confident to say they're probably going to be a playoff team. That secondary is pretty solid. Right ahead of them is the Cleveland Browns, who, again, smacked the Arizona Cardinals, which is to be expected. But Deshaun Watson returned this week and looked looked fine. Really, this was a game that the defense won. The offense didn't have to do much. We will see what they do going forward. They kind of have a big game next week against the Baltimore Ravens, who just smacked the Seahawks, the team I have right here. So we'll see how that goes. Next on the list might surprise people, or maybe it doesn't. I have the Miami Dolphins. If you didn't know, I'm a Dolphins fan. Fins up, baby. Yeah, I'm a Dolphins fan. I could talk about what happened in Germany. I can't do it in German. Can't do it in a German accent either, or dialect, whatever they call those. I don't want to talk about it. Literally, I was watching the game, and the Dolphins, they're driving. They're trying to score before the half to make it 14-7 because they get the ball at the beginning of the half. And then Tyreek Hill fumble. You could argue, oh, he should have been stop before progress, or oh, did he even catch the football? Does that classify possession? Like, it's a catch. We know what a catch looks like. I think you got a better case to make. Was it forward progress or stop a forward progress? Regardless, ball gets knocked out, ends up being returned for a fumble, which was kind of a lit play. Like, yeah, the lateral. So I guess Travis Kelce isn't the only one that's doing laterals on the Chiefs. I guess this is just something they do in practice, perhaps. So instead of going into halftime down 14-7, you're down 21-0. The Dolphins did rally back. Strong third quarter where they bring it within 7-point game, 21-14. Both offenses are kind of quiet from there on out. I mean, the Chiefs were basically quiet in the whole second half offensively. And then the Dolphins had a really sucky last drive. Let's just call it that. I like that the Dolphins... Listen, this was probably our best game against a team with a winning record. But we're going to have to eventually beat one of these guys. We're going to eventually have to prove we can beat a playoff caliber team. We got smacked by the Bills. Eagles game, again, I know penalties were heavily called on us. I think a lot of things didn't go our way in that game, but I do think the Eagles outplayed us. And it was kind of encouraging to see, okay, we're down 21-0 to Patrick Mahomes, and we were able to battle back. I know we got that dog in us. I know we do. We just got to see it. Right ahead of them is the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills I kind of had sneaking in front of us because they do hold the win over us. Josh Allen, everyone's like, oh, look, Josh Allen, dude's not even that good of a quarterback. Legit had one bad pass on the night. It just happened to be for an interception. And legit, if you watched the Bills-Bengals game, which I can confirm I did a watch-along on the channel. That game came down for the Bills. It came down to, well, we turned over the ball twice, and they didn't turn over the ball at all. Came down to that interception, that poorly passed ball by Josh Allen. Came down to that Dalton Kincaid interception. Fumble. Sick looking fumble, though, going airborne like that. Great play by Jermaine Pratt, by the way. So, yeah, like the Bills, they feel kind of stagnant right now. They really do. We know the defense is hurt, but they're putting it together. I thought they did a good job of limiting the Bengals. And you got Linval Joseph coming off the couch, hopping in here and making plays. But offensively, they need to do something. They need to be more consistent. We'll see if they can do that in the upcoming weeks. They weren't one of the teams that had a bye. So, oh, that's right. They got the Broncos, which should be a get right game, but we'll see. The last team I have in this tier are the Dallas Cowboys. I'm pretty sure some people won't like what I'm about to say here, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think the Cowboys were the better team yesterday against Philadelphia, or 2 days ago. I think they were the better team. I think the Eagles kind of got lucky on two fumbles that should have been turnovers. You had the strip on Hurts that just kind of fell back into his hands. You had the DeAndre Swift fumble that AJ Brown was coming around and accidentally collided with him, and Tyler Steen was able to get on the football. But I thought the Cowboys, and by when I say that y'all lucked out, I mean to say the Cowboys were just very unlucky. Like, don't get me wrong, Terrence Steele had a terrible game. But CeeDee Lamb was eating. Dak was playing good football. You had the Jake Ferguson fourth down reception that ended up being all of yay short. Tell me guys, any of y'all relate with that? And then you had the 2-point conversion where Dak steps out. Just like, man, nothing could go right. And then I felt like that was just like encompassed in one of the stupidest final drives I have ever seen. And I'm not saying like the play calling or anything, but like the amount of penalties, the penalties that were called or not called, like the Hassan Reddick roughing the passer was a bad call. They shouldn't have called that. But then later in the drive, you had, I think it was Jalen Carter, who essentially, as Dak's going down, kind of like dove onto his head, shoulder first or something. And I was like, see, now that should be roughing the passer. But I mean, okay, well, one should have been called and the other should have. I guess that kind of equals out, I suppose. You had Dallas just kind of mishandle the end of that with like, what was it initially, a false start and then the delay of game. Shoot, they even had the ineligible player on the Tony Pollard touchdown. That Dak actually, you could see, you go back and watch the video of him actually communicating with the ref, like, hey, he's eligible. So like, I just kind of felt like that this game didn't break for the Cowboys. And that's not even a dig at Philly, because y'all a hell of a team. That ain't even a dig. Like, we'll talk about Philly a little bit later, but like, because they're higher on this list, but not even a dig. Not even a dig. From here on out, I think the remainder of these teams are Super Bowl caliber. And I'm going to start with the Detroit Lions. They had the well-deserved bye. They get to go take on the Chargers. And Ben Johnson gets to, I guess, show how a real offense operates. Or maybe they don't. Maybe the Chargers actually, maybe this is their get-right game. I don't know. We shall see, I suppose. But Detroit, really, really good squad. Really only the only like bad game they had this year was Baltimore. Outside of that, I mean, what they played Seattle close. I believe that game went to overtime. They ended up losing that. They have a win over the Chiefs. They have, I think they've just played good football this year. Right ahead of them, I have the 49ers. They needed this bye week. They will return and they got to take on. Actually, I could probably talk about these two teams at the same time because they both had byes this week. The Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't remember Trevor Lawrence playing this week. So both had byes. And they're going to face one another. And this one's actually going to be in Duval. I imagine the defense is going to be much, much better. That the Niners are going to be like, okay, no, we have learned from what we have done wrong these last 3 weeks. We're going to get our stuff together, especially now with the shiny new Chase Young. Offensively, you're gonna get a healthy Trent Williams, hopefully. You're going to get a healthy Debo, hopefully. So I think things are trending the right direction, and they got to buy when they needed it most. The Jaguars defense is playing really good football. Josh Allen for the Jags, the edge player, playing really good football. Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, playing really good football. So that's actually probably a game of the week right there. So watch out for that. Decided to kind of mention both those teams here at one time. Ahead of them, I got the Baltimore Ravens. Freshly off of smacking another NFC playoff contender or playoff team there in the Seattle Seahawks. Maybe it's just NFC teams they like to smack. I don't know. But defensively, everything's starting to click, man. McDonald, really good DC. Really good defensive coordinator there. Like everyone is just like Geno Stone with the breakout year. Love to see it. You got Javion Clowney. You got Kyle Van Noy having good games. Oh, man. It's just... There's a lot of fun to be had right now in Baltimore offensively. They're kind of doing their thing. They're working out the kinks. But the run game is looking stupid disgusting. Keaton Mitchell, there we go. The UDFA, the undrafted rookie out of East Carolina, making his debut. I think that was his debut game, but regardless, it was his biggest game. Had like 9 carries for like 120 yards or something with the long touchdown. So love to see that. I was pretty high on him in this last draft class. But yeah, I just think Baltimore's a really good team. When all things are clicking, like, yeah, no, good luck keeping pace with the Ravens. All right, my number 3 is the Kansas City Chiefs. Their defense is great, and their defense is carrying. I think there's a couple of things wrong with the offense. I think the tackle play has gotten better the last month. Like Jawan Taylor's playing good football now. Donovan Smith is. Yeah, let's just take the good with the bad, all right? But I know a lot of people are like, oh, Rashee Rice, he's going to be the guy to step up. Who's going to be that guy outside of just Travis Kelce? And I don't really feel like it's been anybody. Like, Rice is probably the best guy you could point to. But even then, it's still like, Patrick Mahomes, I don't know if it's chemistry or lack thereof with the receivers. But a lot of his, he's been late. He's been late on a lot of his touch passes or anticipation throws, which has led to especially on a touch throw, you're just gonna let the defense kind of get underneath that. If you're late on it, it has led to turnovers. I mean, I think Mahomes, he also had a fumble in this game. Offensively, you kind of worry about the Chiefs. They haven't looked like the Chiefs. They had one game where they did, and that was against the Chargers. I don't know, man. We'll see, but it's hard to bet against Mahomes, even when you're questioning their offense. All right, this is gonna get people hot and bothered. We'll see. I got the Philadelphia Eagles at number 2. Jalen Hurts, well-deserved bye. The knee is a little banged up, but I kind of said a lot of what I already wanted to say about the Eagles when I was talking about Dallas, but it does feel like the secondary is a little bit weak. Granted, they were also beat up in that game, especially late in that game. I think of that final drive, you had both James Bradbury and Darius Slay go down, who I think both eventually returned. But you look at them offensively, and they're another team that kind of sometimes just go in droughts where it's 3 and out. Oh, we got a first down, but then 3 and out. It's kind of weird, kind of wonky. You want to see a little bit more consistency to be able to just string together a solid enough drive, even if you don't get points from it, even if it ends up in a punt. You want to at least see them move the football, but they get a bye. Maybe they come out looking much better. This is a team that is just rolling in talent, though. That you can't deny that. There's so much talent on the squad. And I'm going to go ahead and send it. I think the Bengals are currently playing the best team in football. Joe Burrow, I don't think he's 100% healthy, but he is looking healthy. That calf injury, it's something that's going to take, I think they said it takes about 2 months. And I think we still got 2 to 3 weeks before he kind of hits that threshold, but he's moving well. You can tell he's feeling better. T. Higgins, he has returned to form, kind of. Like, he's being involved. He's not dropping passes. Tanner Hudson's suddenly a thing. This defense is great. There, I said it. Yeah, the Bengals are playing really good football, and they're doing it against really good teams, beating the Bills this week. Who was it last week? Let me open up this Bengals schedule just so I don't butcher it. It was the Niners the week before. It was the Seahawks before that. Like, this has been a good stretch. It's been a good stretch. And then they take on the Texans and the Ravens. Like, oh man, why does it feel like the Bengals always got a fairly tough schedule? But no, I mean, I get it. They're not, okay, they're not a one-loss team. Okay, they're not a two-loss team. But they opened the year and we kind of knew it was going to be difficult because Burrow was playing exceptionally hampered. But the way they've played these last 3 weeks, I don't think there's a team in the NFL that I would favor over them. There, I said it. You let me know what you think in the comments section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. But as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.